Depression is a huge topic in rap music, and it always has been the focus of a lot of songs. Whether it's people telling fictional stories of someone battling mental struggles, or an artist telling you their own personal experience, it's always been very present in hip-hop. Now, this is important because these subjects should be talked about, and it can help the listeners feel like they're less alone, or feel like they just have someone to relate to. Now, real quick, I do want to say, I assume that some of you guys are watching this because maybe you're going through depression right now, and you're trying to find some songs that you can relate to. If that is the case, I've left a bunch of resources linked down in the description below where you can go to if you just need somebody to talk to, or if you want to find guidance on how you can work towards feeling better. If it sounds like you might need that, that'll be linked down in the description below. So with that being said, this is CDTVProductions. Bit more of a serious video with this one, as you can imagine, and today we're going to be looking at the darkest rap songs that talk about depression.
But yet and still it's hard for me to feel happy. I often drift when I drive, having fatal thoughts of suicide. Bang and get it over with.
Now there's a reason for this song being the first one that we're talking about in this video, and that's because it actually has a fairly funky and upbeat instrumental. And that does make it sound slightly less dark, but the lyrics on here are so dark to the point where it almost overpowers that funky sound. Here the Geto Boys talk about living incredibly paranoid lives due to the dangerous lifestyles that they lead. And a lot of this was inspired by Scarface, who wrote 3 of the 4 verses on this song, channeling his genuine experiences of manic depression into the track. His 3rd verse in particular really displays the image of someone going through a mental breakdown due to their drug dealer lifestyle catching up with them. It's always interesting to see rappers focus on the bleak side of high-paying crime, and the Geto Boys nail it on here.
Poppin' Percocet, I'm a nervous wreck. I deserve respect, but I work a sweat for this worthless check. I'm about to burst this tech and somebody to reverse this debt. Minimum wage got my adrenaline caged.
Eminem has made songs for pretty much every mood, and that includes songs about struggle and mental pain. Even the story about this song's origin is pretty dark. Em wrote this song when he was literally at rock bottom. He had been fired from his job days before his daughter's 1st birthday, and he'd been evicted from his house, and was pretty much struggling financially in every way. He even said he popped a whole bunch of pills the night he recorded this song to the point of throwing up. He really was just going through a rough time. He put all that frustration into this track, talking about living in poverty and how living like that was just breaking him down. You can tell things were not easy when he recorded this track, but the silver lining comes when we look at where he's made it to today. It's somewhat inspirational for sure.
Stuck in a bed like fuck life, sleep the dead way, I don't wanna get up right. Unattended to my kids, no energy to throw the ball like I don't wanna live.
Throughout his discography, Jarren Benton seems like someone that has struggled with mental pain quite a few times in his life. From the aggressive, hard-hitting Nothing Remains, to the vulnerability of Dark Roads, or the sincerity and pain of losing someone close to you on Silence, he's always had an emotional focus in his music. But this right here is probably his most revealing track, with him detailing the constant decline of his satisfaction with life. He specifies why he feels this way throughout the verses, citing his struggles with blowing up in the rap game, him divorcing his wife, his frustrations at his doctor's advice not helping his mentality, and the fact that he's too depressed to spend time bonding with his kids as reasons for the pain he's feeling mentally. The chorus on here has quite a haunting feeling to it as well, with the guest singer Sareena Dominguez saying, "Will I take your breath away, or will I take my last today?" It's a very touching song indeed, and I hope Jarren Benton has found the help that he was so clearly longing for in this song.
With the cream and his mom, and dear mama, I used to hate you, now relate to everything you did to make proof I love you. Take it back.
Kurt Kobain basically follows the concept of Proof writing his suicide note moments before he kills himself. Obviously not in real life, but in the narrative of the song. As you can imagine, this means that things get pretty heartfelt and personal, and it's scarily realistic as well, with Proof addressing his many flaws, and with him apologizing to the people he feels like he didn't treat right during his lifetime, such as his mother. Things escalate as the song goes on, and the saddest part comes when we start reaching the end of his fictional suicide note. In the last few lines, he addresses all the fellow members of his rap group D12, showing how much love he has for them all before he eventually pulls the trigger. On top of that, things get a little more saddening when you realize that just 8 months after the release of this track, Proof would die in real life due to a shooting. So rest in peace to Deshaun Halton, aka Proof.
If I have to, praying no car speed bop for me to crash to. Steering wheel in my hand, trying to hold it steady. Anything in my way is dead, cause that's the way I feel I am already.
Nas has always been a fantastic storyteller. He can paint an image in your head with his lyrics in a way that not many others can do, and that's exactly what he does with this track right here. As the title implies, Nas presents a story of him getting drunk by himself to try and drown out his emotions, and he's dangerously driving whilst doing so. Just like a few of the other songs on here, one of the main causes of his anguish, the breaking down of his relationship with his significant other, but he also cites other reasons as well, such as dealing with fake friends who caused him to have trust issues. His self-destructive habits are also shown here, for example when he says he prays that another car doesn't drive past him because he will swerve into it to take his own life if it does. Just the image this song paints of Nas resorting to drinking and driving to try and suppress his pain is such a tragic picture, and being the incredible lyricist that he is, he doesn't struggle to let you into his mind at all on this one.
I know I quit, but I started back. The homie called together, my bodyguard Nicholas just had a heart attack.
I'm sinking again, I'm drinking again.
Now Tech-9 has a ridiculously large discography, with a lot of it having a focus on the dark emotions he feels, and this song showcases him at one of his darkest points. He mentions that he's irritated on here because with all this success, he feels that he should be happy, but that just isn't the case. This is because of many reasons, such as his mother being severely ill, and due to his touring, Tech wasn't able to visit her often, and on top of this, he has friends around him who have either been killed or are having serious health complications. Many people say that fame and money can't buy happiness, and Tech really displays that fact on here. The pain here is then further emphasized by Tech's suitably low, almost dejected delivery, and Krizz Kaliko brings the emotion to full force with his incredibly powerful hook. There's so many Tech-9 songs out there about dealing with disturbed thoughts, and I feel like this is one of the most impactful ones.
They figure me a dead motherfucker, but I'm just a motherfucker that wanna be next. No living with the lead in his head, turn me.
Everything about this suggests that it's gonna be quite hopeless sounding, from the name of the duo, to the name of the album this song comes from, which is My Liver Will Handle What My Heart Can't, to the name of this actual song itself. The song even uses this really melancholy sample from a track called The Bitter Song, and as you can see, even the lyrics of the sample add a bit more depth to the content and subject matter of the track, that subject matter being battling depression caused by a breakup or an addiction. Ruby's verse here is very dark as he talks about depression that was largely caused by his longtime girlfriend leaving him, and some of his lyrics here are incredibly bleak and joyless, such as, I'm trying to get the highest I can get before I overdose and die, my ribs are nothing but an empty cage, black hole in my chest. Scrim's verse isn't any less morbid than this either. He kicks it off by telling people that he really isn't joking about his suicidal thoughts, despite certain people thinking that he's just being edgy, but no, that's really how he feels. He goes on to talk about these thoughts and ends it by saying in the state he's in, he feels like his only goal is to die and place the blame on his addiction.
It's not the drugs that got me out of my zone, going days without eating in a crowd, I feel alone, mama. Then she asked me why it seems I never sleep at night. I told her when I close my eyes, my brain just keeps the fight.
Admittedly, I haven't heard a whole lot of Joe's music, but this song is making me want to dig into his discography. This track is 8 whole minutes, and Joe covers so much ground whilst talking about his fractured mental state and the personal issues in his life. Joe Budden himself even stated on Twitter that this is the hardest song he ever had to write, and you can see why when you look at how open he is on this track. One of the biggest talking points in this song is when Joe elaborates on his thoughts about his ex-girlfriend girlfriend claiming he assaulted her, a case in which the charges were eventually dropped. He really goes into insane detail about how much this event affected him and how it messed with his emotions. It's not the only revealing part of the song though. One of the most harrowing moments comes when Joe describes writing his own suicide note, but stopping when he writes down one word, and that one word was mom. It stopped him from taking his own life because he just pictured his mother's reaction to getting a call saying that her son had died, and he couldn't go through with it. He really does get as personal as he can on this. The song might be 8 minutes long, but it really doesn't feel like it when it's so genuine and impactful.
My grandmama hands. I start to cry when I see them, cause they remind me of seeing it. These the times that I needed the most, cause I feel defeated.
I tweeted about this song recently and I said, this song is difficult to listen to sometimes, it's incredible, but it's so dark, and that is truly how I feel about it. Whether you consider this as a song or as an EP, it's undeniably cold and hopeless for the most part. It's a work of art, but it's a painful work of art to listen to. Solace is split up into 5 different parts, with 2 of those parts being entirely instrumental, and whilst the instrumentals do have a bit more of an upbeat feeling to them than the rest of the track, they still have this very eerie aura to them. There's no questioning after hearing this that Earl has been through a lot just battling with himself and his own mind. The hardest hitting part for me has to be the 4th segment personally, as this has some of the most impactful lyrics across the whole 10 minutes that the piece runs for. From Earl saying how he cries when he sees his hands because they remind him of his grandma who passed away, to the closing bars where he says, "To tell the truth, I'm at a loss of friends. Well, time waits for no man and death waits with cold hands. I'm the youngest old man that you know. If your soul intact, let me know." Earl has a very darkly poetic way of translating his thoughts into lyrics, and this track is emblematic of that fact. Well, that is going to be it for the video today, guys, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy this one, and just let me know down in the comments below what you thought, what your personal favourite songs are that deal with the topic of depression. And like I said, if you are going through these thoughts yourself, there are a bunch of resources linked down in the description below that could really help you out, so I'd encourage you to have a look at those. So yeah, you guys all know where you can find me on social media and all that kind of stuff, so that's all I got to say for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Don't worry, it'll likely be more upbeat than this one, you know, it just doesn't feel right to throw too many jokes into a video about this subject matter. So yeah, that's all I got to say. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you all in the next one. And this is CDTV Productions, signing out.